My name is Chris Hoffman.
I'm Lisa Robinette, and I wanted to share my experience of the Intuitive Intensive with Crystal Ann Compton and Tricia Carr.
The Intuitive Intensive was life-changing.
I truly believe that the program is life-changing.
Life-changing. There we go, done. Life-changing.
I am a intuitive reader, channel, and a psychic development teacher and coach. These are not words that I thought I would be describing myself as at the beginning of 2018. Sitting here as a graduate of the Intuitive Intensive, I can tell you how powerful the teachings are of Crystal Ann Compton, the founder of the Lightworkers Lab, and Tricia Carr. Sorry. I do love them so very much, and I am so grateful for the teachings that they have taught me through this course.
Sign up for the Intuitive Intensive. Just keep saying yes and be open and go forward with your heart and with love, and you'll get to where you want to go.
Really fun.
Hey everyone, it's Tricia Carr. Welcome to a mini episode of Charmed Life. And this is another installment in my series of the Metaphysics in the Bible, the Metaphysics of the Bible. And, you know, I haven't posted one of these. I haven't done one of these in probably a couple of weeks now. If you are kind of on track with when this is actually being published, either on my YouTube channel or on my podcast feed, then the reason is that I haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks is because it's actually the end of the year, it's the holiday season, and I have been really busy with both, getting business wrapped up because, people tend to take time off at the holiday, and then also just starting to enjoy the holiday with my family and friends and everything. And, you would think that this would be a good time for someone who was doing this kind of series of Metaphysics of the Bible, that the season where it's kind of highly Christianized, where there's, the whole Christmas story and everything, that might be a good time to do one of these videos and perhaps to do it, or in episodes, I should say, these mini episodes, because some of you listen on the podcast. Because maybe even to do one around Luke chapter 1, verses 26 through, I think, is it 38 or something like that, which is the story of conception, of the Immaculate Conception, as it's called. And so I considered it, but it wasn't coming as an inspiration for me, and certainly not as I kind of felt into it or read into it for me. That is not to say that someone else may not find it, or even myself. I may find that inspiration and find some kind of metaphysical interest at another time. But just like right now, it wasn't kind of striking me as having some kind of, spark for me right now as it concerns looking at this literature of the Bible from a metaphysical lens or even a mystical lens. Now, I will say that from the sort of mystical lens, that the virgin birth and just the mother and child deity is something that exists in other spiritual practices, other constructs, and even in antiquity. And it is observed that, and again, this is, I'm hoping that this series is for everyone. If you are someone who actually identifies as a Christian, I do not intend to offend any of your perspectives or values. So, but that's just a potential if we're going to talk about things that are sensitive, like religion or beliefs. This is actually just a sposen. This is meant to be philosophical and inspired. And again, the very right up front, I am utilizing the lenses of metaphysical philosophy and mystical artistry. So if you're looking for strict evangelical Christian religious perspective, that's not here. I might use that as inspiration, but I'm being very fluid here. Having said that, again, let me just say that the talking historically speaking, about the Emperor Constantine. Now, the Emperor Constantine this is all from memory again. I haven't done research. I did research before when I was, really studying this stuff. Anyway, the Emperor Constantine, I believe, was in power in the Roman Empire around 300 BC. And again, it's not about the facts. I didn't choose to look this up before. But anyway, let's just say it's around 300 BC. Emperor Constantine essentially chose to Christianize the existing religion, which revolved around sun god, sun worship, and like a religion that had to do with the sun. And for whatever reason, some would posit that the reason that Constantine chose to Christianize the Babylonian or the Roman Empire, which was the former Babylonian Empire, is because it was a sort of, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what some people say. I don't know. I wasn't there, and I'm not interested enough to try to make a decision about it. No one knows the heart of a man, right? And but what is also thought to have happened was that Constantine sort of took the existing practices and including the deities, the artifices and statues and the different temples that were already in the existing religion, and just sort of put Christianity, or what was then developing to be called Christianity, because obviously Christianity, it was not the church that Jesus or Yeshua and his colleagues and apostles and everything actually put in place. That wasn't the religion then. It was just a kind of new extension of Hebrew religion. But, the church was something that was much more open and expanded, and probably attempting to be less religiously structured. That is my interpretation. That is my perception as I tap into the energy. But Constantine was well after the actual life of Jesus or Yeshua, and actually after the life of the apostles, and decided to, was doing this Christianization, a newer religion of the existing. And some people, I don't know, sometimes I think it's recorded that Constantine had an actual genuine religious experience. He really was sincere about it, and perhaps that's it. But what does seem to stand the historical record is that the existing sun religion was just made Christian. And so the Cupid and Venus god and goddess, sort of archetypes, and it exists in Greek religion, in Greek spiritual history, and also in the I don't want to get into all of the details of it, but anyway, for example, Cupid and Venus were a mother and child deity, and thus this became, it is said, Mary and Jesus and many others, and essentially just kind of, and this was also said that when the day of church, of worship, of going in to, connect with your spiritual practice and with God and go to temple, was actually Saturday, was the Sabbath, because that was the Hebrew experience of it, according to the 10 Commandments, where the seventh day was the Sabbath, and the seventh day has always been Saturday. And so then it was shifted because the day of the sun god worship, or the sun worship religion, was actually on the first day, and that would have been what we call Sunday now. And so it was shifted, the day of worship, from the seventh day to the first day, along with many other things. And so Constantine, and during this time, the canon of the Bible, that thus as we know it now, we don't have one version of it there, besides the different translations like New International Version and King James Version and New King James Version and the Living Bible. There's also the Catholic Bible and the Jehovah's Witness and the, on and on and on, different versions of the Bible, and different languages, which would have different semantics and all of that. But there was an early canonization around this time, and it was done by the First Council of Nicaea. And this council was put together to actually create this canon of this literature, which we call the Bible. And so it was curated. It really and truly was. And some of it was rewritten probably, and some of it was created. And it is said that if you compare some of it to the Dead Sea Scrolls, which would be an older version of these letters and this literature, and there are things that were carefully taken out and put in so as to be able to communicate it to the people and probably to control them. Maybe even in a modern sense, we would say market to them. You know what I mean? And I think maybe all of that is true. And additionally, there could be a good intention behind wanting to quote unquote control the people. And that is that, there are so many millions or thousands, I don't know what the population would have been then, of people, and they need help, and the leadership needed to help them. And so it was a shortcut to kind of just control them. So there's maybe a good intention there. I think humans are dynamic, and that none is neither totally good or totally bad. And so maybe all of it is true, and that's okay. Interestingly, though, we do look at how there were intentions there to sort of not disclose the truth of things to the people. And that the root of that still exists in the energy of this literature. Now, having said that, because it does sound like the root of deception even exists in this literature that we now know as the canon of the Bible, that is true, but that doesn't mean that it is useless. When we actually awaken to how we were sold a bill of goods, and we awaken to it and we recognize it, we actually transmute it, and then we can make a conscious choice to either continue in the same decision or to discontinue the same decision, but we do it from a full consciousness. Now, let me give you an example that doesn't have to do with the Bible. I actually just mentioned this on an episode of Charmed Life, the full episodes. But so I was looking at, again, for not related to the Bible or anything necessarily metaphysical, for some reason I got curious about when women, in at least the Western culture, I don't know about all of the cultures, but women shave their armpits and their legs. I was interested in this because I have some younger friends, and it seems like a lot of younger, at least American, because those are only women that I know, really, they're not following that anymore. They aren't interested in shaving their legs and their armpits and stuff. And I found that interesting and refreshing, because it's like, why should we feel like we're shamed if our body is just doing something that it does? You know what I mean? Like, why should we feel like we have to pluck our eyebrows or whatever, or wear makeup, whatever the conventions are? But this thing about body hair removal interested me. And so I was like, I wonder when we started doing this. And I went into a little research about it, and I found out that it was in the early 20th century, so in the early 1900s. I think it was around the 30s or 40s, and there was a corporation that wanted to sell more products and were thinking of ways that whether there was an untapped market. And this was a razor corporation. And along the lines, not only this, it probably wasn't only this particular corporation, although this was a really big, powerful brand, they decided to start to create women's magazines. They didn't really exist before, women's magazines. So they started to create women's magazines with the 100% intention of selling them products. And that's no big surprise, right? That's what magazines do. It's mostly ads, and then there's maybe some articles and, whatever. So it was a commercial in advent. And one of the things that they decided to do, women didn't shave their legs and their underarms. It was never occurred to anyone. But they started printing in these magazines certain ads and probably some articles shaming women for having armpit hair and utilizing whatever social norms that would shame them into it, like they couldn't get married or something like that. And, this season's dresses have, revealing, and it is unfeminine to have the armpit hair or whatever. And this was in order to sell shave products to women, to foster a brand new market. So you see, the seed of that energy of being shamed into something like shaving your legs, shaving your armpits still exists. And it's totally okay, though, to either shave or not shave your armpits. It really and truly is. It just depends on why you're doing it. If you feel shamed into it, then that's not going to serve you in the highest. And actually, if you do know this story that I'm talking about now of how it may make you go like, forget it then. I don't want to shave my armpits anywhere as a woman, or whatever, as whatever gender you identify as. And you may say like, well, that sucks. I don't want to do it then. Or you may say, I actually still really like shaving my armpits, but I'm going to do it in an empowered sense. It doesn't matter what choice you make. It matters who you are when you make the choice, meaning the aligned you or the shamed you or the blaming or the judging, something that's out of alignment. If you're aligned whenever you make your choice, you take any action, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the choice or action is. Obviously within a threshold. No, it's not true. I was going to say, because some people skeptical, they go, oh, really? So I could murder someone and if I felt good about it, it's cool. You know what? You may actually sometime need to make the choice to end another life so you could protect someone else's. That's just a truth. But that is obviously an extreme example. And we don't need to be in that mindset right now. We're talking about normal human day-to-day stuff. Anyway, so with that example, that's what I mean, is that the Bible or any other literature that may inspire you, if it helps, it helps. If it inspires, it inspires. If you are experiencing it in an aligned way, then you are experiencing it in an alignment. And that's just it. So even though we may have learned that the First Council of Nicaea curated and created a lot of this canon, that doesn't mean that we have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If some portion of it inspires you and makes you more who you really are, helps to inspire sovereignty in you, then great. Even though some other people may have sort of created it under some guise of really trying to deceive people. But if we can uncover that, now we get to welcome the energy of truth back to us. Now, that long speech is to say that that's kind of the reason why I didn't feel inspired to look at Luke chapter 1, verse 26 and so on. Because the story of the Immaculate Conception, as I read it, it just kind of falls flat for me. I'm sorry, just to speak it bluntly. And it's when, Mary is visited by Archangel Gabriel. I love me some Archangel Gabriel. I love the archangels. And says, you are favored and you're going to conceive a child. And she says, how can I conceive a child when I am a virgin? That's what it says in the New International Version. And I don't know. It's just all kind of falling a little bit like, I don't know. I'm wondering if this was a part that was kind of curated. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems a little bit out of place with some of the other work the other writing that I do find inspiring in this piece of literature. Now, your mileage may vary. You may be completely inspired by it. I'm not here to argue, but sometimes that's where we wind up with things. And I'll be frank, when I was in Christian religion and really and truly was pretty fundamental and believed and embraced all of it, that part to me, it still kind of fell flat. I like the idea of the angel visiting a person. But just the rest of it, I just couldn't find any real interest in it. So that's why I'm not really going over it. I'm not finding an interesting way, an angle that's metaphysical or mystical. Let's leave it at that. So something I will talk about today, just to give you something that is truly, for me, an inspired metaphysical and mystical experience in the Bible, is Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. Now, this is couched in a long explanation of what is happening here. This is such a simple verse that I find so powerful. And so it goes, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?' And I said, 'Here I am, send me.' Here I am, send me." And so I feel this very short verse here. Here I am, send me. Here I am is presence. Presence. And so in order to send me, and so in order to be in the co-creative experience, to be a journeyer, you have to be present. You have to be in your I am energy. Your I am energy is the I am. And the I am is the one energy of the universe. And so coming deeply present and speaking to God or to the universe. And when I say God, I mean the collective, the one energy that is in and through and for all of us. All of us, plant, animal, human. Humans are plants and animals, by the way. But whatever. That I am energy, that is the God energy. That is the universal energy, source energy. That I am is what you are connected with in order to be send me, in order to be on your path, in order to leave the place of pure potential, of pure soul energy, to cooperate with other individuated experiences, seemingly autonomous experiences of the one energy, and to come to a coalescent experience with these, to create, in that soul group experience, create the multidimensional consciousness, create the intentions of a journey, and then to dispatch that so that it then connects with the energy of the earth and then makes from the elements of physical form and to be an incarnated journeyer. You must be fundamentally in the eternal now in each moment. Anytime that we separate from the eternal now, then we have limited ourselves and we actually cease the creation process. We pull back from it. We don't immediately die and we don't immediately poof, stop being something, but we do ebb our energy from the co-creative or the creating in the creator small c energy. And so it is, here I am, God, as God, with God, for God, through God, with the energy of the one I am, fully connected to it. Here I am, send me. And so this meditation, this mantra, this reprogramming of the mind that we can do in any single moment is a true rebirth. And so talk about new birth. Talk about the Messiah energy. Talk about saving the Savior of the world. You become one with the earth energy, the one energy, the I am energy, the whole energy, and then you are the Savior with the world, with the universe. That to me is inspiring. And that's way back in Isaiah. Way back in Isaiah. And so here I am. And I thank you for allowing me to be in your ears or in your eyes, because you are in mine. And our hearts are one. We connect here, right now, and we co-create. And we are the energy, the expression of what makes God energy anything at all. We are the expansion together. We are the creation together. Because it's only together that we can be the one I am energy. And so here I am. Send me. Thank you so much for connecting to this mini episode, The Metaphysics of the Bible. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are. Hey guys, it's Tricia Carr. I have new exciting things going on with my Mystic Arts Academy. You can now subscribe to receive all of the live monthly content for about a third of the investment of a single class. Included are at least one downloadable guided meditation per month, 2 live events ranging from classes, channeled messages, group readings, intuitive development guidance, Q&A sessions, and tons of community. You'll also have access to a private Facebook community for fellowship and support, and this space is kept super sacred and high vibrational. Your subscription gives you access to the whole library of classes and live events, which are on a vast array of topics. All events are offered online by Zoom video call, and many are also offered live in person at my studio here in Los Angeles. Subscribing to the Mystic Arts Academy is also a way for you to support the Charmed Life podcast and engage on a deeper level. I'm offering the subscription at a super low rate of $22 a month. Joining now locks in this rate for as long as you're subscribed. Click on the description of this episode or go to my website, triciacarcharm.com, and click on Mystic Arts Academy. I look forward to connecting.